As a wildlife expert, I've personally encountered thousands of species. And in this video, my team has put together a list of the most viral animal videos on TikTok for me to react to and maybe even break down some of the behavior on display. Let's jump right in. All right, first video here, keeping in mind I have no idea what any of these videos are. I lied, I do know this video because I actually filmed this while I was in the Pantanal. So really cool. What you're seeing here is a jaguar that has grabbed a cayman out of the water, and this is the only place in the world where these animals will actually do this, and drag it up the riverbank to feast on it. Now, when you look closely at the video, something that a lot of people don't realize is this animal was not killed by this jaguar in this video. In fact, it may have been killed either by a poacher, and that's why it's missing its tail, which is where the majority of the meat is, or it could have been killed and died of natural causes, and part of the animal has been eaten away, referring to the cayman. So this is really interesting because in the Pantanal, in this very specific region, it's the only place in the world that you can take a boat and go down the river and reliably and actively see jaguar predation. You can see these amazing jungle cats coming down and stalking crocodilians, capybaras, all kinds of things to eat here because there's been so much ecotourism in this area for so long that these animals have become habituated and aren't scared of boats like they used to be. This was a 1 in a million sighting though, and it was so exciting to see. I was squealing like a little girl. I was trying to take photographs with my good camera, but at the end of the day, I dropped that and grabbed my wife's iPhone and shot this video, and it totally blew up. All right, this one says new fear unlocked and has a hippo charging a boat. Now, to be clear, this hippo is actually mock charging. Oh, until the end. So you see the boat driver there. This is actually a really good bit of animal behavior. So as you watch the video here, what you see is the hippo comes in, it's posturing, it's puffing up its chest, it's opening its mouth, it's exposing its teeth, it's going, don't invade my habitat. And the reason being, and this is an important note if you're ever on a canoe safari in Southern Africa, the reason being, the driver of this boat has positioned his boat between where the hippo feels safe, which is the deep water where it can be fully submerged, and the hippo being out of water. This hippo is not being territorial. It's not trying to attack out of aggression. It's because it's scared and it's nervous. And the way that it feels comfortable is by submerging in deep enough water, but the boat is in the deep water and the hippo is coming from the shallow. So it feels no choice but to attack and threaten the boat in order for the boat to move, for it to get into the deep water. Now, the problem is the boat driver does not decide to move the boat at rapid enough speed for the hippo to make the decision that it can now feel safe by submerging, so it feels as though it has to attack. And what you see is as the boat pulls away, the hippo turns and starts chasing the boat in the whitewater, in the wake of the boat, to attack it, because now it feels as though the boat is actually trying to combat the hippo for territory or space or being aggressive. Versus if the boat had just zipped by, or better yet, had just been out in deeper water, the hippo would have run into the deep water, fully submerged itself, and you wouldn't have got this aggressive behavior. So that's all about just understanding wildlife behavior. All right, rhino versus elephant. This is like OG battle royale. So you have an African elephant here, and then you have a white rhino next to her baby, southern white rhino next to her baby, defending, is a white rhino, right? Yes, it is. Defending her territory here. And really, she just feels threatened by the young elephant here. And so they're just having a little go of it. And so you see how the baby gets behind mom. Mom is standing up for her baby. She doesn't actually want to take on the elephant. She knows she's outmatched in size, strength, and weight, but she's just giving her baby the opportunity to escape and not get trampled by the elephant. They're likely competing for the resource of water. If you look around, everything's dry and there's just this small seasonal pan. So it's, these kind of interactions likely happen on a daily basis. These people were just lucky enough to actually see it and capture it on film. All right, next up here, we have a lemon shark. All right, so as I watch the video here, he looks like he's smiling. He's got his mouth open. Trying to see if this one has a jaw injury. No, I don't think so. I think he's just being kind of a doofus and swimming with his mouth open. But don't let that smiley demeanor fool you. Well, obviously I never want to villainize any sharks. Lemon sharks are one of those ones that you look at them, you're like, oh, they're big, but they're chill. There's tons of them you can hop in. That scar right there and one on my foot are both from lemon sharks. I've been bitten twice by sharks, and both times 100% my fault, not the sharks. It's from complacency around lemon sharks, because the second you drop your guard, the second you stop paying attention to what's going on, you have an accident. And you kind of see it happening in this video, right? This lemon shark's incredibly calm, cruising up, the fins are down, everything's fine. But if you didn't stop it and put your hand out in front of its nose and rub its ampullae of Lorenzini like the diver is doing in this video, that lemon shark potentially would have kept swimming, bumped into your body part and gone, what is that? Is that a bit of fish I smell on your wetsuit? I'm gonna find out. And it's like bump, bite straight away. And it's not because it's trying to attack you, it's not trying to kill you, it's trying to do an investigative bite to see whether or not you're food. And I can tell you, those investigative bites suck. So very cute, very good snoodle boop on that lemon shark, but you gotta do it, otherwise you end up with some pretty bad stitches. This appears to be filmed in an aquarium? Yes, certainly an aquarium. And the aquarist in the video here is filter feeding a whale shark. So you see the whale shark is opening and closing his mouth, so he's filtering the water in this aquarium, and the aquarist on scuba has a squirt bottle of zooplankton, which is what whale sharks eat, and they're squirting it. But because this is in an aquarium, the whale shark is habituated. It's used to being fed this way. So you see it sort of following his keeper, opening and closing his mouth to push water over those gills, which act as a seine to take in those tiny little zooplankton microorganisms, which are incredible that they can fuel literally the largest fish in the world. Okay, you've got a big, beautiful male lion having a drink from a seasonal pan. Oh, African helmeted terrapin. So, fearless. Ooh, stinky. This one just must. You smell that? Stinky. These guys are absolutely fearless. One of the reasons they're one of my absolute favorite turtles, and he's pooping on my desk. Can you guys grab me a paper towel? He's pooping on my desk while I'm doing a video here. But these guys are so cool. Now, this one's been hand raised, so he doesn't have that cheekiness that the one in this video does, but these are native to Southern Africa. Oh, he's peeing all over me. He's not enjoying his cameo to this video. He's peeing all over me, musking. It's that terrible, terrible smell that we're smelling here, but these guys are absolutely ruthless. They'll literally take on a giant lion because they so want to eat and defend their territory. This is just a baby, but they get as big as that one chasing the lion around. Oh, Tommy, take my stinky turtle back. Put him in the, thanks buddy, put him back in the tank. Whew. Video says, how different animals see the world. So first one up, we have cats. I've always wanted to do a TV show like this where you look through animal vision. So we're looking at night here. Humans see very black. Cats have more cones and rods, so they're able to see much better at night. It's a well-known thing. Pigeons. Pigeon vision is kind of interesting. It's sort of this fisheye warped zoom-in vision. So like a lot of birds, they sort of live in a telephoto lens world where they can zoom in. And that's why you can be sitting in a cafe and drop a crumb of bread from your delightful sandwich, and a pigeon will swoop in from the 35th floor of a skyscraper, because they live in this sort of telephoto zoom-in world, and they see that crumb come off of your bread loaf or whatever you're eating and swoop down to gobble it up. So flies, this is kind of interesting. A lot of people don't know this, but flies have a very broad panoramic vision. This shows it in a pinkish hue. Maybe they do. I didn't know about that. But there's so many other cool animal visions too. And one day I'll do a show looking through the eyes of animals. But you have snakes that are pit vipers that see in heat vision. You have animals that see in infrared. You have dogs that see in a variation of black and white. I mean, the way different creatures see is absolutely amazing. Oh man, on the Wild Times podcast, which is my podcast, we played that audio, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me what it was, but it's the crazy sound that these shoebill storks make. So these storks, listen to the sound, listen. That's an animal. He's gonna do it again here, listen. It sounds like a machine gun. It's absolutely crazy. These are one of the coolest storks in the world. I'd love to see them. They're from Central Africa. They're predatory storks, which is why they have that giant, thick bill for grabbing and crushing things in the swamplands. And they make that insane call to communicate with each other. Such a cool bird. When I finally make it to the Congo, it's high, high up on my list of things to see, that's for sure. All right, this just says Daredevil, and there's a male mallard floating down a creek. It's not really a creek because it's rushing, and he is going for it here. And that's it. For some reason, that gets a gazillion views, and it's literally just a mallard duck in a fast-moving body of water. The internet's such a weird place, but hey, if we didn't have it, you wouldn't get to see funny videos of ducks in a creek, so there we go. All right, next up, we have another orca. look, I've already raved about orca intelligence. This orca is literally meeting a human baby, and you can see it through the glass of the aquarium. This orca is trying to get closer to the baby. It's trying to investigate it. It's looking at it, it's eyeballing it. It's likely using its sonar to grasp that this is a small mammalian creature. It's doing these loving sort of head nod things, going up, seeing if it can come over, if it can spy hop like we talked about in that other video, to look over and see the baby. I mean, it just shows the intelligence of these animals, why they don't belong in captivity like this. All right, so here we have another hippo. This one is clearly hand-raised in a zoo. I've done this myself, where you feed them watermelons and it shows their bite force. They crush through the watermelon like you're eating a grape. They love it. They are herbivorous. A lot of people think hippos, because of those big teeth or whatever, might be carnivorous, eat fish, whatever. They don't. They only eat grasses, fruits, and vegetables. And because of that, oftentimes people think they're cute. There's movies like Fantasia's. Hippo are gnarly. They are territorial, they're aggressive, they're very nervous creatures, which has them have this erratic and aggressive behavior. I personally have been flipped out of a canoe by a hippo. I'm very lucky that nothing worse happened. Hippos are crazy. Don't underestimate the hippo. Speaking of, in our next video, we have another hippo here. This is a subadult, not a baby, not an adult, and he's going up to greet a giraffe, and they're just rubbing noses at the zoo, and it's utterly adorable. And I think this is a situation where two hand-raised captive animals are sussing each other out because they feel no threats. They've never had to encounter predators. They don't have issues with that. So they're just having a nice little sniff of each other. All right, so I see a big bird here. Oh, big, beautiful humpback whale in slow-mo, full breach, absolutely perfectly captured. You can see all the growth of the algae and the barnacles on the humpback. That really shows the raw power of these animals, right? This is a magnificently large cetacean, this giant humpback whale, launching out of the water and breaching. And there's a lot of theories as to why they do that, but one of the main ones is to remove parasites from their skin. So they are such a large, slow-moving animal. As you can see in this video, they get covered in all kinds of growth. That can be algal growth, that can be crustaceans, that can be all kinds of things. And so by hopping up like that and choosing a flat spot of water and then smacking down, think like a belly flop, that actually disrupts all of that growth and all of the things that are gripping onto the skin and sort of frees them up from parasites. So it's a very clever and beautiful thing to see when a humpback breaches with that raw power. Okay, and our last video here. Oh, this is unbelievable. So you have a regular colored leopard standing in front of a melanistic leopard, and this is likely from Nagarhole National Park in the south of India, where I went there specifically looking to see these melanistic leopards, and we saw a handful of regular colored leopards, tigers, all kinds of beautiful stuff, but these are a crown jewel of rarity, these melanistic leopards. But if you're ever looking for one, that's the place to go, Nagarhole National Park in the south. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. It feels good to just sit back and watch animal TikToks. I could literally do this all day long. Speaking of, if you like this, let me know if you'd want me to do it again. And if you have any videos you want me to react to, pop a link in the comments and maybe I'll check them out. And hey, let's get out there and make our own animal videos. How's that sound?